Hello. So I'm here. I'm back again. Um, I'm excited to do this because it's for good reason. I just want to tell my backstory and what has happened to me and what I experienced and the if you want to call it supernatural, spiritual. It's something that I experienced with God because I was on both sides of the world. I died and came back. So I'll just start. So my name is Akeisha. I had an aortic dissection back in February of last year, February 14th, 2024. And since then, I've had 6 surgeries, 2 open heart, uh, blood clots, and this last surgery that I had, like I said, I became paralyzed. Well, the when I had the aortic dissection, when I died in May, I came back twice. I was on Venmo or on life support. Um, During that time, I was in between these worlds, and I got to see things that didn't make sense to me, or that I may have heard people talk about, or even seen them on movies. But I was glad to remember them. Well, one thing is when I was out and I was in between those worlds, I got a chance to see my family in like real time. And I saw myself outside of my body, standing there thinking I'm talking to my dad, thought I was talking to my grandchildren, talking, thought I was talking to the nurses about my care and all of that. And fast forward a little, I shared those things with my father, and I was telling him how, Dad, I want to apologize to you again for us arguing out there, um, letting you know the difference between a procedure and major surgery. And he said, me and you didn't argue. We didn't talk. I was like, yes, we did. I was right there. And he was like, no, you wasn't. You was not there. All of that happened, but you wasn't there. So in between these worlds, I end up coming, seeing my grandchildren. I saw my grandson crying for me. Um, he just put everything in my face. God did that. And my granddaughter, this was a major one. So my baby girl, um, who's 4, the one thing that I remember, I guess, when I was coming back to, I'm guessing that's what that was. My grandbaby dropped down, and she was hanging on a string like a spider almost, or like she was an ornament. And I kept trying to grab her, but my arms kept going through her. They just kept going through, and I was kept reaching for her and reaching for her. And then while I'm reaching for her, my daughter face flashes in my face. My 19-year-old daughter, my 7-year-old granddaughter, all those two flashed in my face. My son, but they were like pixels. They wasn't all the way together. But and so when I finally woke up or came to, I was telling everybody that I was different. I kept saying I'm different, something's different, something's different. And so the moment I said that, there was like a gush of water that came over my body. It was like it was happening to me while I was sitting in the bed, and it washed everything off of me, like my clothes. I was nude, and I was like standing in this. It looked like a parking lot. The one thing I did forget when I was in between the worlds, my grandmother, who died 2 years prior, um, was like faded in and out. She wasn't all the way there, but she was just looking at me almost if to say, what are you going to do? Are you going to choose this side or that side? Are you going to come home to Jesus, or are you going to go back home to the world? And she was just standing there. She always used to sit like this, but she was just like that. But she was like, half of her face was in, and the rest was like faded out black. And I'm just blessed to be able to say I experienced that. But so it gets better. So I'm standing in this parking lot, or I call it a parking lot, and it was like I came from outer space or nowhere. Like I was renewed, reborn, um, something. I don't know. All I can do is say it was nothing but God at that time who cleansed my soul, because prior to me having these surgeries and having the aortic dissection was I was already having the struggle with, is God real? I was already having my own battle with him and about him. So I and those that don't know what an aortic dissection is, just so I go back, it's my aorta tore. It ripped from my kidneys. The aorta go all the way through your body. You normally never survive. It has a 0% survival rate, and I survived it. And I don't have anybody to thank but God for that. Granted, I woke up 3 days later, but I'm just blessed to be here. I always say I'm a robot or something because I know that I'm different, but I'm not. It's just I say I'm a robot because they had to crack my chest and do all of that. And so anyway, um, so that's part of my backstory and what I was getting to and what I wanted to talk about. I just wanted to share something that if somebody that don't have hope, uh, or struggling with health or whatever, I'm just sharing, and not doing this for anything but to hopefully I reach somebody, and that it may even have stories like this to tell, and I would love to hear some. But back to what I was experiencing, and really wasn't aware of what was going on until later. So also while I'm in the bed, I feel a, like a lot of massaging, but there was nobody there. But there, my feet, my legs, my thighs, my head, my back, and I was just like, it was soothing. It lasted for months, that massaging. But when I start talking about God and what he's done for me and what I was realizing, I had other people around to tell me what I was experiencing, and the fact that I realized that I experienced something that I hear others talk about. Um, so I thought one day those hands stopped on my body once I made it home, because I was in the hospital for a month, but those hands was on my body for about 2.5, 3 months. They didn't go away, and the one day that they stopped, I didn't feel them anymore. I thought God had left my side, because I knew those were like angel hands, because I was back of sound, mind, and body. I was back here. I was back on earth, and I was really like, I experienced this, and it was different things that was happening to me that you may have seen on TV from all the, I felt like I was right there. I was looking, I was standing there, I was talking, I thought I was talking, and, but I wasn't. So I've had many experiences so far with my journey with God, and I'm not gonna stay long, I'll just try to cut these stories short and do like another one tomorrow and just tell them, because it's a long journey, but I just wanted to share, uh, and hopefully and prayerfully I reach someone, and I will share more on another day, and pray that uh, somebody is reached and probably even can say I can relate. So everybody out there, be safe, be blessed, and I will do another story.